here at JazzWatch. Welcome again to yet another episode of our podcast that you're helping to make special. You're helping to make it what it is. My name is the Watchman, Greg Bryant. So glad to be here with you, your friendly neighborhood jazz crusader here. If you'd like to reach out to us, the ways to do that, facebook.com/JazzWatch. You can join our page there and keep abreast of what we're working on. Also, our mother site details all of the episodes there in one place. You can read synopsis and kind of pick and choose what you'd like to delve into. That address is jazzwatch.wordpress.com. jazzwatch.wordpress.com. Follow us on Twitter, and for the old-fashioned email, that approach still works as well. gbjazzwatch@gmail.com. We've got a great show for you today, a wonderful show, and it's definitely time to be reflective and wonderful about the music, man. I don't know if you've been following things at all, but this year, the end of 2014, if you live in the United States, a lot of adversity, a lot of trials and tribulations going right now in the media regarding the whole Ferguson, Missouri community and the verdict that was just handed down recently. Of course, the comedian Bill Cosby in the news for some rough accusations of sexual misconduct and abuse. Man, it's just it's rough, man. And either way you line up, however you think about it, man, it is just unexpected. Just the level of adversity that the end of this year has borne. But thankful for the music, man, because that is really what it's about. If you don't have the blues, if you don't have the groove, if you don't have the swing, how else is it to express those feelings of angst and of apprehension and of concern? Man, it's something else out here, and that's what jazz is for, man. Back in the 60s, back in the 50s, you could tell just what the climate of the world was about through the music, man. When we think about stuff like, you know, the Freedom Suite, you know, and the certain titles of tunes like the March on Selma, you know, and the Freedom Rider, you know, cats like Art Blakey and Max Roach and Sonny Rollins and Grant Green and Blue Mitchell. They were all about reflecting their time, you know. It's interesting to walk across, you know, the different parts of the country, not walking, but traveling and seeing and hearing the reflections. A lot of cats are very hip and very conscious. You know, if a lot of cats weren't playing instruments, they'd probably be political science majors, political scientists and reporters, because, you know, as musicians, you know, their job is to be a window into the world, the reflections of not only how they feel about certain circumstances and situations, but to be the voice for the voiceless. You know, that's what this community, you know, was about historically. And hopefully in the music, you know, we can get back to, you know, grassroots and brass tactics, because, you know, as fancy and as academic and as entertaining as, you know, jazz or improvisational music can be, there's got to be an element that connects directly to the emotions of the situations, you know, breaking down that barrier to make an audience feel what your message is, regardless if they agree with it or not, is crucial, is important. And man, I tell you, I can think of no better person than our guest today, Pianist Cyrus Chestnut, to embody what music can do and its effect that it can have, you know, over the listening public. Man, if you've ever seen or heard Cyrus publicly, you know he's one of a kind. Soulful, swinging, grooving, intelligent, but always of the people. He plays people music. It's soul music. It's good to the soul, and it's good for what ails you. Pianist Cyrus Chestnut having a marvelous year this year, a chart-topping CD. His first live project was issued early this year. It's called Midnight Melodies, and it's available on the Smoke Sessions label, a new label that's causing quite a stir. The Smoke Jazz Club issuing several select titles this year, and Cyrus's did exceptionally well and continues to be heard on stations around the country. This particular set finding Cyrus in the company of bassist Curtis Lundy and the great drummer Victor Lewis, two cats that he admired when he first hit the New York scene in the 80s, but now getting a chance to play with them and celebrate one of the great jazz piano masters, John Hicks. This isn't, as Cyrus will tell us, a tribute record as much as it is celebrating the energy and being a part and connected to a certain energy of the lineage of the music. It was first through cats like Hicks, and now it's through gentlemen like Mr. Chestnut. So we're going to hear from Cyrus Chestnut. He's going to talk about this recent project as well as what's on the horizon for next year going forward, and as well as a very, very special, distinct honor. He's entered the realm of academia, spreading his wisdom to generations to come as professor of piano at Howard University. All this and more just after we hear some soulful sounds. You'll hear my conversation with the great pianist Cyrus Chestnut right here on JazzWatch.
Man, I guess first I wanted to kind of catch up with you, man, since we hung out last, that you've got the professorship at Howard, and just kind of tell me how that came about. I know for years you told me that you always wanted to be associated with a university like that, and what's it like to sort of come full circle and be able to kind of impart some of your musical knowledge with the folks up there?
Well, first and foremost, it's just a great blessing. It really is. It's a great blessing. It's something to walk down those halls. There's something really special in those halls, and to be able to be a part of that legacy, I do not take for granted. It's really, really cool. It's fun to be able to share, but then also to I'm learning as well. So I'll tell students like, hey, if y'all don't want to learn nothing, I'm sure enough gonna learn something. So, it's a very beautiful situation, and there's some beautiful things happening at Howard University as far as fine arts are concerned. It's the 100th year of the fine arts department, and there's a lot of things that are slated to happen and things that are happening. But first and foremost, it's just a culture there. It's just a beautiful culture to be in.
Man, that's awesome. That's really awesome, man. I guess, what are some things that you're finding as you interact more one-on-one with the students? I've often heard sometimes, fortunately or unfortunately, the appreciation for jazz and improvisational music has yet to be cultivated sometimes in African American youth, which is kind of ironic because the music kind of comes out of our experience. But what are you kind of finding with the students that you encounter? Not only the willingness to learn, but what have they been exposed to, and what are you kind of steering them toward?
Well, I think the thing is you have to encourage students to engage, embrace, and go through the process. There's a process in learning the meaning of the flatted third or the flatted seventh. There's a process in learning the meaning of the blues. There's a process in learning, what mezzo forte, what pianissimo really means. And I think a lot of times what happens is because of the fact that we're in I like to say, a microwave generation. We want everything so quickly, people listen and they hear the magic, and they just immediately want the magic, but they don't want to really get into the process of what makes the magic. And so in one sense, and that's just, I think that's just a generational thing now, since everything happens a lot faster. Everything happens a lot faster. But still, sometimes in the process of things happening, in order to tell a story, you got to gain information. But if you're going to tell a story that's going to really be meaningful, then you're going to have to go through some experiences so that you can tell that story. Hence going through the process. And so so the folks say, "Wow, that's really killer what you do. Wow, yeah, I want to do that." But are you willing to do what it takes to get to that?
I gotcha. And also too, this year, man, it has been amazing for you on the jazz charts, the radio front. The CD that you put out with Smoke Sessions Records, man, was number one on the charts for several weeks. And could you talk a little bit about that particular project, that recording? It was kind of a return to some roots music that you held very, very dear with some folks that you admire, right?
Yeah, the record, Midnight Melodies. It's actually my first live record. And it has the opportunity to record with great giants like Curtis Lundy and Victor Lewis. Is when I first got to town, these were the cats that were holding court, and as far as I'm concerned, still are holding court to this day. You know, we got some music together, and you know, it's not some there is an underlying tone. There's an undertone of music that the great John Hicks, great pianist from St. Louis, played. You know, he played a lot of his music. You know, but it is not meant to be a tribute record. You know, because there's only one John Hicks, and only John Hicks can play John Hicks. And so, you know, we just got together, got some tunes together, and then we just sat down and started playing, and then allow what to happen. And the result was that, you know, it was really organic. It's very organic, you know.
Yeah.
Very spontaneous at times, you know. And it was a very special moment for me, and I was very grateful that, you know, people, you know, really, you know, have held it up, and, you know, it got played to the degree that it did. You know, very, very happy about that.
For sure. I was glad to see you get that distinction, and I know one of the things that you brought up when we were hanging out earlier this year, it's just kind of the way that jazz, I guess, press or media, unfortunately deals with the two extremes, the extreme youth, and then of course the senior masters. And, you know, now that you find yourself kind of, you know, as an established veteran, kind of in the middle of things, I guess it's really refreshing to me to see, you know, folks embrace the seasoned pianist and composer that you are. I guess if you could kind of tell me too, what things maybe do you have on the horizon for next year? Is there another recording in the works? Are you trying to strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, or what plans do you have?
Well, just as far as next year, I have a collection of pieces I was going to send about earlier this year, and it's a very life-changing experience for me. And it inspired a whole new set of composition, which is called African Reflections. And so hopefully next year that'll happen. Actually, in a couple of weeks, I'm getting ready to do a recording on the high note label. With once again, Victor Lewis on drums, and David Williams of Cedar, the great bassist who spent a lot of time with Cedar Latin on bass. And so, you know, doing recording, and now, you know, play some music there. That should, you know, that'll be one thing that'll come out around next year. And then you know, hopefully going to African Reflections, and I look forward to just really expanding, you know, into teaching at Howard University. You know, really just, you know, really get into it.
Right on, for sure. And then too, I guess, kind of going back just a little bit, with your matriculation, of course, you know, you attended Berkeley, and you were able to come to under the tutelage of, you know, John Hendricks and Betty Carter and numerous others. What do you see on the scene currently now? Are there still opportunities for young players fresh out of school to do their apprenticeships with the masters, or is that era kind of passed by and cats just have to make it the best way they can? What's your take on that?
Well, I think it exists to a certain degree, but once again, it's like the most seems like what's happened is that the young musicians basically create their own scene, and they, you know, in a certain way, in a sense, maybe feel it not important to engage with the folks who came before, you know. And that's kind of sad in a sense, because there's certain things that, you know, when you find yourself spending some time with some seasoned people who have walked the ground that you have you still yet to walk, you learn a lot of things, you know, that you can take on your journey, and you know, but you know, hopefully there are some who find it necessary. You know, yeah, I would like to be able to kind of hang out with you and play some music for a while and learn. You know, I think that's a very smart thing to do. And I think by doing that, you gain a lot of longevity versus just kind of jumping out and doing one thing and you get a quick success. You know, I think I think I would rather have a sustained success than a quick success.
For sure. And I mean, you've taken, you know, the discipline that you've accumulated, you know, to be able to play with, you know, Aretha Franklin and Kathleen Battle. I mean, my goodness. I mean, yeah, it's all music, but at the same time, you have the flexibility to be able to like accommodate those various types of expressions. I guess, what are some things that you're telling young pianists that you're encountering to be able to be more versatile? Is there a specific attitude that they need to have, or what is really required in dealing with playing with vocalists versus instrumentalists?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you have to consider a lot of different types of views. You can, of course, you have your favorite points too. You know, you can do everything to play that. I was talking to a student, and they were talking about association music. And I said, man, you hear this here? I said, you play in church, right? He said, yes. I said, well, have you heard that in church before? He said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you use it? You know, so I just really encourage, this is the musical journey. It's a lifelong journey. It's not about retirement. It's long as you have breath in your body, that's what you do. You keep figuring out ways how to play music. And so you just have to keep searching. You have to keep searching for our courage. Courage you got just to keep searching. Keep searching. You know, find something different things. Because this music is about thinking. Okay? And as you are inspired, what you study in school will allow you to apply knowledge to inspiration. And I think once you do that, it gives you great longevity.
Yeah, for sure. Just a couple more questions. I often think about how, you know, jazz is becoming more of a global thing. It's less about, say, back in the day where you had maybe the Philadelphia sound, you know, or the Baltimore sound, or the Detroit, you know, sound. It seems to be kind of, in some camps, joining together in a sort of, you know, homogenous way. Do you think that is a, you know, a good or a bad things? You know, do local communities, as you've traveled around the country, still have the sway and influence on its players, or do you think everybody's kind of dipping into the same well now?
I don't think everyone's dipping in the same well. If that's the case, then we're in trouble. I think that, you know, jazz, in the words of Linton myself, is very democratic. You know, you have the encourages. I think you're encouraged to find different ways. Teddy Carter would always say jazz is about finding out who you are. And so, you know, a person from the north is a little bit different from a person from the south. A person from the northeast is different from the person from the northwest. You know, you have different experiences, maybe cultural differences. And, you know, you have to bring those to the table. That makes who you we all start to talk alike. We all start to dress alike. And I think there's danger in it, because this country was not founded on the concept of everybody talk or walk and dress alike.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had the freedom. We have people, you know, gave their lives for the freedom to be who they are. You know, and so I think that's a requirement for jazz.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. Well, man, I appreciate you for this time hanging out with me. Yeah, man, I applaud and congratulate you again for your successes this year, and looking forward to seeing what 2015 holds for you, bro.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
Right on, man.
that's pianist Cyrus Chestnut doing what he does. Soulful as always, swinging as always. He's a one of a kind. Thanks for checking us out for this edition of JazzWatch. Yours truly, the Watchman, Greg Bryant here. Make sure to tell your friends about us, man. We've had a banner month. We've gone through the roof with new subscribers and downloads thanks to you. And you know what? It's all free. It's no cost. It's information provided for you to enjoy and you to hang out with. So spread the word as you can. Leave us a review if you can on iTunes. You can subscribe to us there for free. We thank the folks also at Stitcher Radio for keeping us before the people. And if you're checking us out via Stitcher, what's going on over there? Make sure you let me know that you are enjoying it. And if you have any suggestions, questions, corrections, reflections, whatever they may be, make sure to get at me. The ways to do that, gbjazzwatch@gmail.com. Of course, leave a review or a comment there on iTunes. You can join our Facebook page, and we'll let you know what we have in the works. And that's facebook.com/jazzwatch. You can reach out to us via Twitter. And the mother site has all of our episodes just for you. jazzwatch.wordpress.com. Yours truly, the Watchman, Greg Bryant here for JazzWatch. We'll check you out next time. Make sure that you're hearing the other music. Till next time.